And we're live. Cue the music, man. We need some intro music because I'm here with my guest, my guest host, a blank screen of just random images and stuff. Oh my god!
Ha!
Oh my god! Soundbooth
Hi!
is giving birth.
Ha! I scared you. You thought I was just a blank screen.
Horrified.
But I'm not.
What an unexpected turn of events. The nothing has become Gary.
Hello. Hello to you all.
Thanks so much for joining us, Gary. We will be playing some music for the here we go, audience.
Beautiful.
The Tales of a Northblood theme. For any of you who
yet.
don't know, Tales of a Northblood was one of the first things on our platform, one of the first deep dives on our platform, and this was the theme for it. We had Dane Bryant Fraser composed this for us.
Oh wow!
Really nice feel to it. Definitely reminds me of Vikings.
Oh man!
Yeah.
I want to go on like an adventure and pillage.
Let's go pillage some people. I think.
Screw this podcast. We're gonna go pillage.
Yeah. It also sounds a little bit like The Princess Bride.
At the very start, I was hearing some like Star Wars-y influences. I love this main hook though. Mm-hmm. So good. That's great.
And it's got like that Irish
reminds me of my home. I'm back in my ma's kitchen drinking tea and slaying bastards.
Well, it is Soundbooth Theater Live. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Frank Moore is here. Anyone else is here, please say so in the chat.
Hi, Frank. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. Gary, how long has it been since you were you here last month?
I may have been here last month. I feel like it was. I wasn't here last time. I don't know. It's been a few weeks. I can't remember. That's how long. Which kind of sucks.
Today's a skeleton crew day. It's just the two of us. We should make the best of it, though. We should take this time to get intimate. No, we're not going to do that. No. I'm not doing the foot fetish AI today. Sorry.
Foot fetish AI.
That's from Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Very nice.
I think one of everyone's favorite characters now, the foot fetish AI.
Just loves feet.
Well, we have Carrie Summers with us today. That's why we had Tales of the Northblood team beginning. That's right. Thank you, audience. Thank you. I knew you guys would be excited about it. For any of you guys just showing up, please say hi in the chat so we can say hi back. So right after we're done with this pontification/news segment, we will have Carrie on, and we will talk about the third Tales of the Northblood and perhaps what else she has planned for the future. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then let's see, what else do we have? We have news. We have 2 releases today. We have Echoes. That's right. A new Pinnacle Entertainment short story from the last Parsec. This might be the very last one. From the last Parsec. It might be.
Which one is
Echoes?
It is the last one for last Parsec.
Okay, so that's the last Parsec, the last one. This is our sci-fi short story series. It's been a blast. But we already are pretty much finished with all the weird wars, which is...
We are making great progress on that. Yeah, we are ready to go for, I think, the first new episode. So yeah, we're doing really well.
That first episode is going to be an introduction to Hannibal Hills from Soundbooth Theater, his first time working with us. He did a great job on that. It's him and me on the first story. My favorite short story that I narrated for Pinnacle is in this collection. It's called Teufelhunde,
Ah, that was a good one.
No, Teufelsünde.
Teufelhunde.
Yeah.
Or Teufelshunde, I don't know.
Teufelsünde, yeah.
Devil Dogs.
It was a World War I short story. Excellent. I got to take Dracula back out of my bag of tricks for this one. So yeah, pay attention, guys. I don't know if we're gonna skip 2 weeks or if we're just ready to go with the first episode of Weird Wars. We might just send that out 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I think we're set. I think for the 16th. But it depends on what. And like I will say that it's so different from last Parsec. Like you're gonna get your sci-fi fix in last Parsec, but then you're gonna get a real different vibe from this one.
Yeah,
like real different.
Oh, what's happening with Dungeon Crawler Carl 4? All right, real quick, just to let you guys know, haven't heard anything else from ACX, and I've been watching my email like a hawk. So I told on myself last week about what I did, which kind of isn't even really my fault, sort of, because they shouldn't have rejected it anyway, because the end credits were there. They just didn't listen to them. Dude, it's whatever. We got it resubmitted. Haven't heard back. We'll see what happens.
We're gonna go down there.
Watch out.
We're going down there right now.
We're gonna go down to Audible right now, and we're gonna say, "Hey guys, where's my Carl?" So our other release today is The Stars Have Eyes, episode 5. Regret and Travel. For any of you guys who haven't started The Stars Have Eyes yet, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's free. It's free. Last Parsec is free. Weird Wars is going to be free. We have tons of free stuff that we're just giving to you guys to try and convince you that we need. This is my speech music. This is music from Stars Have Eyes, episode 5. Ahmed has decorated the shit out of this series with beautiful, beautiful music that he did by hand. Aaron J. Morton also composed the theme. We're going all out with the series, and if you're Everybody Loves Large Chests fan, there's no reason you shouldn't have listened to this by now. Just go get it. Go get it.
Go get it right now.
Go get
it. Pause this. X out of this. Don't even watch this. Get out of here.
And of course, most importantly for today, go to Audible and pick up the Tales of a Northblood series. If you haven't already picked up books 1 and 2 from Soundbooth Theater, Direct Market, go to Audible and pick those up. They're just the audiobook versions. We're not giving Audible our good stuff anymore. Sorry, Audible.
You can't play with our good toys.
You can't. Only you guys. Only you most loyal of listeners who will go to our website, pick up our app. You are the only ones who are going to get our sound effects and music from now on. Oh, and, Everybody Loves Large Chests, of course. Because, that series has got like 7 more books in it. So we got to do it. Thank you, Christina Richardson, for being obsessed with Carl and Donut. Thank you. Corey Covert, I believe, is also commenting here. Thank you for coming. Heidi Holscroft. Good evening. So glad I'm able to catch the show. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you were able to catch the show. I think it's time to bring Carrie in. I think our news is over.
Do it. I think so. I am not a news buff, but I think that was all that was there.
Well, Carrie, come on into the studio.
She's like, no.
She doesn't want to. She's like, I'm scared.
I don't want to.
There she is.
Yay!
All right. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, Carrie. And I think it's been a year. I think it's been a year since you were on the show.
Oh my gosh, it probably has been.
Yeah. You have been one of our favorites here in the actual show. You're always so good. You're always so good at turning your cell phone off before you come on the show.
I know it's my skill.
You're always so insightful, and because I feel like you're one of the most legit lit RPG authors out there because you work in the video game industry, and that is just so cool. That is so cool.
I do. I'm just the luckiest person in the world. I get to work on games, and I get to write books about games. I've been a little slower, I admit, writing books about games the last year and a half, but I'm back in the saddle.
Good. Does that mean that they've been working they've been cracking the whip at the video game company or
factory?
No, you know what? I work for, despite how my characters might view video game companies, which is maybe rooted in some of my historical experience. I work for just an amazing company, and we don't crunch.
That's great.
Yes, it's awesome. It's great. Now, you know what? It was a depressing year, and it was just like my creativity was like where I couldn't go or something. But
Right.
I wish that I could be in that zone sometimes where like no creativity for me. No, I can't do it. I need to like sleep or something. I wish I'm always getting myself into trouble doing all these projects and being on shows and like talking to wonderful audience members. Life is too exciting for me to not be able to be creative.
That you know what? When I went on and just I've been sitting there looking at my same four walls. You know, I see my coworkers occasionally on Zoom, and I was just like, this is so much sameness. I'm not getting anything. And then I'll pull up Facebook and talk to some people that are waiting for more books, and that's super exciting for me. Like, I think that human connection that you guys get all the time is amazing. So I'm working on bringing that back for myself too.
Yeah, as everyone should. As everyone should. I mean, it's time for life to get back to normal, guys. That's what I think. We need to start getting our lives back and doing whatever we can to stay in touch and be humans together, you know. So are you able to share any sort of video game stuff? Are you guys promoting anything that's just released?
We are still unannounced. I work for a studio called Paradox Tectonic, and we are owned by Paradox Interactive, which is just an amazing company making a lot of different games, but the kind of the wheelhouse is grand strategy and strategy games.
Nice.
And we're headquartered in Sweden. We're a very international company, so my studio is headquartered in San Francisco Bay Area, but the organization is Swedish.
I pretty much only play strategy games now. So it's really thrilling to hear that that's what you're working on.
Yeah.
So please keep me updated so I can play a game that Carrie Summers was involved in developing.
It is amazing, because I have access to the library of everything that not only that Paradox has made in-house, but everything they've published. My Steam is amazing. It's just pages. It's just so overwhelming that I just don't even know what to play.
Yeah. But you've played them all, right? You don't have hundreds of games that you've never played like me.
So many games that I want to play and so little time.
That's Steam for you. That's Steam for you. They just make these ridiculous sales. It's just like, how can I not buy this?
You should just get the bundle. It's only $2 more, and there's 19 games in it.
Yeah. Never play a single one because you're still playing, Beat Saber.
I've never played Beat Saber, and I would like to.
Dude, it's good. It's good.
I've heard good things. Actually, Paradox, speaking of my great, I sound like I'm bragging, but I'm just I'm kind of a fangirl of my own company.
Please brag.
They gave us Xbox Series X's for Christmas.
Nice.
Wow.
And it's just complicated my whole life because I got the Game Pass and I'm just like,
That's too many options. You're like,
option paralysis.
Have them all.
Well, that's great. Tell us about Tales of Northblood Book 3, and if Tales of Northblood is going to keep going, or if Stonehaven League is going to keep going, or if you're starting something new. What's happening with Carrie Summers, the author, not the video game developer?
Well, Book 3 was a very fun one for me to write. I actually wrote it at the start of this year. And I really, I've spent a lot of time in my life adventuring in the mountains and the wilderness and rock climbing and some stuff like that. And I really wanted my characters to be able to kind of get out. And one guy kind of has like that level of experience, and then there's a game QA manager, and she does not have that experience. And so it was kind of fun to put the two characters where she knows how to play a game and he knows how to how to do mountaineering and glacier travel and stuff, put them together.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun with that personally, because it was like writing two sides of myself and then making them like try to get along and solve problems together.
I love the survival aspect of Tales of a Northblood.
I have like, when I dream sometimes at night, I'll get post-apocalyptic dreams that are awesome. and they're all like this survival, like Mad Max and like out in the woods, and just like I wake up and I'm like, oh,
that does suck.
Life is good.
Yeah, it is.
In a
it is.
bed.
That would be not actually really fun to be in, but it's so fun to imagine. And that's, But yeah, so I started this week. I started Stonehaven 8.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, it was. I've had a lot of fun with Tales of the Northblood, and what I think I'd like to do with those characters and that world is another trilogy, because I liked also being able to ramp something up and then close it out. So I know that, especially for readers too and listeners, sometimes you don't want this never ending.
Right.
But gosh, going back to Stonehaven and just writing that first chapter and revisiting those characters, like I was having a hard time putting away my computer and doing my day job. So that's exciting for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's exciting for the readers and listeners.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I know I've been slow, and it's just it's been a strange trip for all of us. But I just want to write this book and get it out there. I think that Stonehaven League probably has. I agree, Jared. Well, I mean, I don't know. We've been through a really boring apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh, the worst apocalypse.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's the waiting room of apocalypses. it's the old folks' home of apocalypses. That's what COVID is. Just
no one brings us like jellies to eat.
Couldn't you guys have put a bit more, like a bigger budget on this apocalypse? Jesus. No effort whatsoever.
Yeah, I expected Stonehaven League. I wanted to have a natural endpoint, which I suspect I don't do well plotting that particular series. I don't do that well. Pre-plotting a series in general, I wing it. But I suspect it's probably going to go 3 more books. Yes, so that one will wrap up at about 10 books. And then the question is going to be another Northblood trilogy or something else. But I want to stick with LitRPG because it's fun for me too. Like sometimes making games is just like so slow.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Right.
And
writing a book and it just happens like magic and this game exists.
Right.
Do you read much LitRPG for pleasure for yourself?
Do I play one?
Do you read any of it? Or do you play
read it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I did quite a bit in the beginning, and it was amazing to me, like how it could bring out those same. Oh, I'm gonna try that game. I love survival games. They're awesome. Thanks, Richard. I got this sort of sense of like the same emotions that you can get from gaming, and I'd only ever had from gaming. And it was amazing to me to feel those from a book. Here's what happened to me, though, is if I read lit RPG while I'm writing it, I'm going to plagiarize the crap out of it. And somebody is going to hate me. And it's not, I wouldn't be doing it on purpose. It would be like, because I don't know where the ideas come from. They just appear. And if I'm reading a lit RPG book, that's probably where they're going to appear from.
I can't count the amount of times I've thought like, wow, that's a great guitar solo I've made up, only to be like, nope, full on stole every single note of that.
Yeah. It's funny because it's such a fun genre to read, and it's just like so. I don't know. It combines everything that not everything, but so many things I love about life. But I don't want to rip off somebody else.
Yeah.
So if I do read, I usually pick something that's really far. Like I'll pick a sci-fi lit RPG, or a totally different theme than what I'm doing.
So did you get into like from video games to writing it, not out of a frustration to see stuff you wanted to see, or just because you loved the genre, or a bit of both?
I actually started writing science fiction and fantasy in general, and I started in short stories and going like submitting short stories to magazines and working toward trade, sort of traditional publishing.
Right. Yeah.
And then I published some fantasy books. And it was really, honestly, like I always loved this kind of the cyberpunk vibe and all of that stuff. I always loved it, but I was like, I don't know if people would. Is that just because I'm kind of old, but because I was, I had some formative times in the 90s. I don't know. But then I saw, I think I read Life Reset, which was the first lit RPG, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. And I was already in the middle of a series, which is now at 4 of 5 books, and I will finish it. But I kind of just started writing lit RPG because I was like, this is just so awesome. And I used to work on MMOs.
Oh, nice.
There were great things about it, like learning how to create MMOs, but I was like, it was really hard as one person. It's just, I'm a programmer, and I had this vision of what I wanted a game to feel like. And so, man, that was amazing. It had been a few years since I worked in that specific part of the industry, and man, it was fun to just write one and pretend that we could do it as developers. Oh God, it was awesome.
I feel like that's some of my favorite lit RPG experiences, when I feel like the author has designed a video game, like their dream video game, and it actually makes sense. Like it's not just random things happen
and they like
explain it away. Yeah, they don't just explain it away. Oh well, it's the game. But they think of the design and then they try and come up with a cool story within that design. That's Life Reset for sure feels like. It feels like maybe Shemmer secretly has New Era Online on some hard drive somewhere that he for 2 decades or something. So yeah, I definitely get what you're saying there. That's and I think that Stonehaven League, at least the chunks that I've listened through, especially since we're always going back and forth between the main character and my character, who's sort of I can't remember. He's like number 2 with the company or something like that. And
he's the guy that made the AI that actually generates the world, and he's super nerdy.
Right. So him talking about, the way things work from outside the game, and then seeing those things, like the implications of those coding things happen within the world as the main character is going through, it's just so meta and fun. I think that's the best part of this genre, is the layers through which you are perceiving everything. So so Stonehaven League, you got 7 books so far, and that's just one arc, right?
It is, and you know, it had it kind of there was a long quest line for 5 books, and that sort of led into the second arc of, now that you've completed this sort of epic quest line, here's the major threat. Like it's kind of like the character is on her first epic quest line, and I guess all the characters really, because it's, I mean, there's a couple main characters, but then we get some chapters from other people, and now it's sort of in this sort of world threatening arc that needs to, they have to fight this gigantic world spanning fight. But I want to
Game
keep
world?
it.
Game world spanning? Or
Yes, well, not that's the thing, is I've had a lot of fun with Stonehaven because it bleeds into the real world,
right?
And that was something that was super fun for me. And I actually really like writing the characters outside of the game too, because it gives them, like, how are they in real life, and then how do they express themselves as gamers when they can kind of inhabit this other avatar.
Right. So would you say that the first 5 books of Stonehaven then would be one arc, and then 6 and 7 is the start of a new one, and then the next 3 are going to be the end of that arc? Okay, cool. So that will be one arc. Then Tales of a Northblood has already gone through one in a trilogy. Tales of a Northblood is also related to Stonehaven League.
It is.
Right, which that's another thing I love about LitRPG. A lot of authors do that. They like to just create different worlds and then have awesome lore connecting them. So Tales of a Northblood, though, one thing that I've found really compelling about that one is there's a little bit more of an emotional investment, I think, with the players there and the implications of why they're in the game. And that's a big mystery that you have to unravel throughout the series. But, you know, I remember going through some stuff near the end of book 3 that was kind of heartbreaking about what their situation is. And so I think that people will really enjoy that too. I feel like Tales of a Northblood, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Tales of a Northblood comes off as more of a romance, like, and it is a bit more of an intimate story than Stonehaven League, which Tales of Northblood, don't get me wrong, has some humor in it, but Stonehaven League seems to have a more epic and adventurous and lighthearted feel than Tales of a Northblood.
Tales of the Northblood is more serious, I think, and it's got some, the characters have a little bit more of a, I mean, the romance that is there in Stonehaven League, and there's not much. It's cute. Yes, and Seagrams. But Northblood, I felt like was a little bit more serious about, you know, how would people feel if they were really pulled into a game world entirely.
Right.
And I'm trying to avoid sounding like hoity-toity, because I don't think it is either. It just is that there's some things that I think were a little more heavy in it. And people coming from really sort of maybe a tough situation, and how does being in this different tough situation affect them?
Awesome. Yeah, so it's been really fun producing your books. We're really looking forward to more Stonehaven League and Tales of Northblood. Annie's in France right now. I wish she were here to talk with you a little bit more.
Why didn't she take me?
I don't know. I told her that she should have invited you, but she's like, I don't have time. I don't need, you know, all these people attached to me. I just want to be free in France. So, you know.
She's just in a rowboat in France.
Yeah, that's
the entire
all,
time.
That's all they really have. So I'm sure she's excited to get started on them. Do you have any ideas when either of those books might be? So Stonehaven would be first, right?
It will be first, and then I'll look at how So I actually, mentioning sort of the different feel of those two series. One's a little bit more heavy. Life hasn't been quite as light and adventurous the last 18 months, and I didn't want to change the tone of Stonehaven. But I'm feeling like, if I'm going to be honest here, my kid is back in school.
You got your life
and it's
back.
like I'm just like, woo!
Just the light shining down freedom.
Yes. I mean, I love her to death, but it was a challenging 18 months. So I'm excited about number 8, and I suspect, to be honest, that after number 8, I'll be looking at maybe another Northblood trilogy starting, only because I also have to wait on the cover production. Mm-hmm. I love the cover art for Stonehaven, but it's not very quick.
Right.
So that dictates my schedule too. So I would expect one from each, probably this fall, if everything else comes together. This fall to winter.
That's wonderful. Well, you heard it here, guys. Already 10 books total within those 2 series. So go and gobble them up. If you think Carrie sounds like an interesting person and you haven't read her stuff before or listened to, all of those things are available on Amazon. All of them are on Audible now. And any new ideas for series coming up maybe next year?
Speaking of like how I always have these post-apocalyptic dreams, I don't know, something in this system apocalypse like genre. That's kind of, I don't know. I waffle all over the place, but that's something that interests me. Is I have to think about it a little bit, but I mean, I think it would be fun to have that happen here.
You still have a survival itch to scratch, it sounds like.
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
I do.
Now that Richard has reminded me that Valheim exists, I might actually play that tonight, and then you guys will never see me again.
All right. Well, then I won't write any mail parts, or I'll hope you guys get some step up a little bit.
All right. Well, Carrie, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking.
Thank you, guys.
We have a clip to play, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. A preview of Tales of a Northblood for anybody who hasn't listened to it yet.
All right.
He backed toward a stone rack to safely set down the iron bar. The tip still glowed a deep red. Mackenzie pushed open the door to the forge, admitting a welcome puff of cool sea air along with the bright grin she turned on him so often. Her smile faded when she saw the look on Jace's face. "What is it?" she asked, hurrying toward him while carefully avoiding the front of the furnace where cinders occasionally flew from the grate. "Are you okay?" He gestured lamely at the anvil.
"Bob, I killed it."
Mackenzie slowed and stared at the glittering mess. With sunlight entering the room through the open door, it was harder to see the faint glow that rose from the splashes of goo. But the sparkles caught the light. "Oh, geez. Did it finally piss you off, or what?"
"No. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't been at least a little pissed at it now and again. But no. It appeared right under my hammer, squealed something in another language, German, I think. Then, splash."
"German? Why?" Jace shrugged.
"Why did it like to play Scrabble? I'm not sure there was any logic behind it."
"Can you remember what it said? Maybe it was panicked and trying to give us a warning. Maybe that's why it appeared in the wrong spot."
Mein Leben?"
Mackenzie's face went flat, the corners of her lips turning down. "It wasn't mein Leben, was it?"
Wait. Maybe. What are you thinking?
"At least someone knows their history." The laughter seemed to emanate from the walls as, all at once, the quivering puddles of goo rose, forming trembling spheres like tablespoons of water in zero gravity. With a melodic tinkling, the globules zipped together, making little blooping noises as they joined back into a floating sphere. Bob flared with blue-white light as it finished reconstituting. Jace blinked. Mackenzie glared. "This poor excuse for a firework," was quoting from an ancient video game where you killed Nazis. Castle Wolfenstein. "And if you had any clue about the history of gaming, you could have spared yourself these minutes of remorse over having murdered a fine soul such as myself," Bob said with a self-satisfied shimmer. Okay. Jace could see why Isel had apologized so profusely when Bob had declared that it would hang out in Ironstead during the preparations for the defense of Rhymeshore and the journey to the Icelands. When the Wisp had offered, Jace had believed its advice would be a fantastic resource for completing the next step of his epic mission, Winter's Quest. Every day, he opened his quest journal to check the objective, not because he really believed it would grant him more insight, but because it made him feel like he was doing everything he could to prepare. The words were ingrained in his mind. Quest entry. Winter's Quest. Rhymeshore is at war against an unbeatable enemy. Hordes of frost wraiths, ice golems, and larger, far more fearsome beasts march over the land. The barrier teems with nightmares making their way south to crush innocent lives. Nothing will squelch the Frost Lich's rage for having his barrow unearthed. Objective. Travel north, rallying any available forces to stand against the Frost Army on your way to the Barrier Mountains and the treacherous paths through the Icelands. When Bob booped his nose, Jace batted at the Wisp with his fist, part of him wishing the glowing ball would get back up onto the anvil for a good smashing.
So, Bob,
he said.
Was the goose splatter an illusion, or did you actually explode and reconstitute?
Bob shimmered again. An arcane denizen never reveals its secrets.
Shame. I'm just so fascinated with the ways of the arcane. You say you're a hive mind, which is pretty hard for me to imagine, but your other capabilities. I feel like if I could just get a grasp...
Yay!
That was one of my favorite lit RPG jokes ever. The Mind Laban. I thought that I had called Annie on pronunciations though. So I gotta review our proofing process. Damn it, Wolfenstein, right? And it is Mind Laban.
It is.
It is Mind Laban. So,
Yes.
I played that game so much when I was in elementary school. Like, I actually learned what all the German stuff meant in the game. And that's the one sound clip that will never leave my memory.
I've never played Wolfenstein.
You never played Wolfenstein 3D?
I've not. No, I've played. Man. Yeah, I've always seen it and be like, oh, you want to play that? Because I was really into German when I was in high school. I was like, yeah, I want to learn German.
It was super hardcore, dude. You could get shot like 2 or 3 times and you were dead.
I mean, I'll play it then. I do not excel at video games.
Oh, well, then stay away, Gary.
I just put them all on easy and be like, okay, I'm really good.
I just downloaded. They did a big patch on Quake 1 Remastered, and
wow!
I just downloaded it. That's what I'm doing when I depart.
Oh wow!
That's
You're playing the original Quake. Okay, I might have.
Yeah, you know what? I used to stay up till like 3 and just deathmatching. I mean, there were times where I would skip. I probably shouldn't go there, but I figure I'm going to be so bad now that it'll be all right.
Well, thanks again, Carrie, for coming. Hope you have a really good frag session. And yeah, I guess that's it. Everybody go pick up Tales of a Northblood.
I hope you enjoy it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on.
Hopefully we have you on again soon.
All right.
Bye.
Mind Laban. Dude,
man, I want to play Quake.
Dude, Quake is dope.
Those games like Doom and Quake when they first came out was so just like kind of bootleggy and just like, hey, we'll play our game. We're gonna send it over our intranet. Like they had this weird, not quite internet. Like they're putting zip disks in Ziploc bags.
Well,
and like
also they had freeware. id's thing back then was freeware. They I remember the whole first episode of Doom, Knee Deep in the Dead. That was all freeware and I played the shit out of just that first episode when I was a kid.
LAN party, yeah.
Oh
gee.
man, LAN parties, fucking what was it? LAN parties always remind me of Counter-Strike. That's what it is.
Yeah, I've not played that one either. I was going to get the orange box when it came out years ago,
Orange box is
but
amazing.
I didn't. That was a great story I just told there.
Is that another one of the stacks of Steam games?
Oh, the Half-Life games. I got them all. I've not played past about 20 minutes of the first one, which I should do because I really like it. But I haven't done it.
Half-Life? Oh my god!
I've been playing Pillars of Eternity, man. I love that game.
Which one?
Pillars of Eternity. It's
That's
like a Baldur's Gate style.
That's one I haven't played, like barely at all.
It's
But
fantastic.
dude, Half-Life, man, you got to at least Half-Life 2. Half-Life is a historical, like,
I feel like you have to play Half-Life.
you have to play it, and because when it came out, no other game had so seamlessly weaved a great story into the gameplay as well
And the
as they
physics
did.
engine.
That's Half-Life 2.
Oh, yeah?
Half-Life 2 is what brought out the damn physics engine that blew up the entire gaming world. The ragdolling in that game was maybe the best part. So, yes. And Half-Life 2 was like, I can't remember any other game having physics puzzles before Half-Life 2.
Man.
So, Half-Life 2 is like a true masterpiece. I 100% recommend if you can skip Half-Life 1. I mean, it's good, but it's not. It doesn't hold up as well as Half-Life 2. And with Half-Life 2, even the graphics hold up. Like Half-Life 1, if you go try and play Half-Life 1, it looks. Yeah, it looks.
If you want to feel good about your computer, be like, I'm gonna play Half-Life 1, put it on super ultra high mega settings because my computer's a beast. It's like your toaster could run that game.
Yeah, but Half-Life 2 still looks good. It's kind of amazing. And when was it? 2002? 2003?
I don't know. Around the same time as Deus Ex, I think. I don't know. That's also an awesome game, which you should all play.
Yep.
But the graphics are mega shite.
Oh, right. Richard reminded us of something. Black Mesa came out a couple years ago. It's a remake of Half-Life 1 in the Half-Life 2 engine. I should play that.
Ooh.
If you want to play Half-Life 1, I recommend just trying that. So anyway, what do we have today? After the interview, we have a couple SBTL classic requests.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, we have two different Soundbooth Theater Live polls. One of them is called the Troll Poll, in which whatever you're requesting, we're going to mutilate for our own amusement. But the classic poll is where I will narrate whatever you put in front of me, and I will do it faithfully.
Old school SBTL.
I will do it. I will do it like a man.
I'll narrate like a man narrates like a chick. Ain't no messing around.
Yeah, exactly. No, I in the classics, I actually will take it seriously, do my best job. Even though it'll be a cold read, I'm going to do the best job I can. Well, we have two requests today, and we have two narrators today, so I think it would be appropriate for Gary to do one, and then for me to do one. So, what do we have for today? We have, I think, Gary, you want to go first?
I can do that, yeah. We have Akashi's Will, the Harbinger Chronicles, Book 1. Quick question. Do you all say Harbinger or Harbinger? Now, I've only heard Harbinger in widely published media, but I've heard people say and correct me and say it's Harbinger. I don't like that pronunciation, so I'm going to say Harbinger.
I prefer that pronunciation. I think Harbinger is correct. Oh,
right. It's the same like machinations, machinations.
Yep.
I have only heard machinations, yet every time I say machinations, I get a ping back saying, nah, it's machinations. We're not going to let that slide. And it makes me angry.
Yeah. Or GIF and GIF.
I think it's GIF, but is it? It is GIF.
It's supposed to be GIF, but fuck
is
that.
It?
Yeah, fuck that. I'm calling it a GIF.
I'm not
GIF,
saying
GIF is peanut butter.
I don't like that word GIF.
Yeah.
GIF.
I hate it. It's too close to my own name.
Saying your name.
It's like anyone saying that is mocking
GIF.
me. It's
Jeff,
it's like the N word for Jeff.
Jesus. It escalated fast.
And here we go. The other thing that I'm going to be narrating is someone requested Alpha Physics once again. It could have been Alex Kozlowski, the actual author of it. Maybe he liked it enough that he wanted to see some more. So I'm going to do that one again. And it's a different chapter, of course. But yeah, Alpha Physics Book 1, Wagga by Alex Kozlowski will be me. So Gary, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, I'm going to talk through a very quick talk through on the characters here. So we have Afton, who this book will be is in the point of view from. He's the 22-year-old human male, and he loves his best friend Marty. And he sounds like an average young adult. Cool. Then we have Marty, 22-year-old gnome male, who's rambunctious and mischievous, confident and witty. He's going to be happy and brash. Pam is Pam from The Office. Glasmere is going to be a Gimli-sounding dwarven character, I imagine. Then Akira. I speak Japanese. I'm not going to say them the wrong way. Just
we purposefully picked this one for you because you speak Japanese.
So let me see. Whiteford, Shokari female that speaks. We don't find out her name. Akira is a Shokari race. Okay, cool. And then we have Shino. Vaunted Trinity. He's a shade. I don't know what that is. We have Eli.
It's an undead. It's kind of like a wraith.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
kind of like a wraith.
Let me see. I'm just gonna read. Okay, here we go. This is an excerpt from Chapter 3, and I'm going to imagine that Afton's American, so I'll be American for this. I need to make this bigger because I'm old now.
Take it away, Gary.
When we walked inside, our contact was easy to spot since she was the only other person in the room. Pam was wearing what looked like a light pink collared button-up shirt with a slightly darker pink button sweater. Her head full of brown curls bounced as she looked up and aimed a smile at us as we timidly walked through the door. Sitting on a stool behind a desk that was elevated to chest height, she called to us. Afton, Price, and Maddie Reddle. I see you're here to attempt the trials. How exciting. Come over here and I can record your information. We both walked forwards and stood in front of her desk. I hesitantly asked, how did you know who we were and that we were here for the trials? Oh, that's right. You would think that after working with so many hopeful Conry, I would be a little more mindful of my manners. She looked up at me and perhaps, seeing the sweat beading up on my forehead, gave me a sympathetic smile. It's okay, sweetie. I have access to information that only someone that has undergone the trials can possess. Once you complete them, everything will be explained to you. Thanks. I smiled back at her. Now, both of you place your right hands on the desk, palms down. She gestured to the space in front of her. When I placed my hand down in the designated area, my body stiffened in response. It was the briefest of sensations, but it felt like every muscle in my body went temporarily immobile and locked in place. The sensation passed so quickly that I wasn't even sure it registered. Correctly, or if it was just all in my head. Marty placed a palm on the desk a couple of seconds after mine, and although I was watching him for any signs of something odd, he didn't seem to react at all. We are good to go here. Pam smiled at both of us and pointed into a corridor leading out of the room to her right. Go through those doors and follow the purple line in the floor to your holding area. You will have a brief introduction and then the trials will begin. Good luck. We said our thanks to Pam and made our way through the designated door, Marty a half step behind me. After ensuring there was no visible mark or injury to my hand, I quietly asked Marty, Hey, did you feel anything odd when you placed your hand on the desk? Marty glanced at me curiously, then responded, Nope, all I felt was the desk. You didn't feel anything like an electric jolt or something? Like all your muscles went temporarily rigid for half a second? Doubt over the whole thing was starting to creep into my mind. I didn't feel anything like that. Marty slowed his pace and asked with concern, You okay, man? Taking a deep breath, I let it out slowly. Yeah, I'm fine. It was probably nothing. I'm just nervous about the trials. By the time we reached the doors that our purple line was directing us through, my nerves were mostly under control. Only a slight feeling of apprehension still resided within me as we walked through the doors that slowly opened to let us into the room. We paused in the threshold and looked around to take in our surroundings. There was a collection of couches and recliners that were arranged in varying sized clumps, scattered throughout a room that was perhaps a little larger than the apartment Marty and I had shared. Over 24 people were already occupying some of the seats, but everyone seemed to be keeping to themselves. Walking a little way into the room, we made our way to a pair of recliners that were near the center. Sitting down in one of them, I looked up in time to meet the eyes of a red-skinned orc sitting a couple seats down from me. I nodded to him in greeting, but he just looked away without acknowledging me. I noticed that most of the other people in the room cast furtive glances at each other, but no one was talking. "So, how about the Trinity?" Quite a few of the others jumped slightly and then shifted nervously in their seats when Marty interrupted the stillness in the room with his loud question. "Anyone? Come on, people, we're all here to join the Akashi dungeon. You can't sit here and tell me you weren't pumped to see the Trinity kicking ass yesterday." Near the front of the room, a young Shokari girl turned in her seat to consider the gnome. The white fur with grayish-black stripes running down the length of her back made her stand out from the crowd. Her tail started languidly swishing back and forth behind her at Marty's question. "Oh, little gnome, you are quite right. The Trinity are the best Shokari have ever offered to the Akashi." Her voice was soft and with a slightly melodic tone. "There we go!" Marty was starting to get a little amped that he had a crowd that was forced to listen to him. "At least we have one fan here!" "Yes, I am, as you say, a devoted follower of the Trinity." The Shokari girl turned her head to look directly back at Marty. Then her green luminous orbs flicked over to study me as I was sitting next to him. My people have chosen me to be offered to the Akashi now. I will become as powerful as the greatest of the Trinity one day." She paused before continuing. "Then, when I am too strong to be refused, I will choose Shino to be my mate. I will lay my Sora on his sleeping pad, and he will accept me. He will accept his place by my side." Her tail quivered slightly as she purred her claim to the room. "It is known." Marty shrugged and said, "Okay, crazy lady. Don't you think that you're going full fangirl on him? I mean, he is famous, so he probably has the pick of the ladies. I'm sure dozens have tried to claim him over the years." "No, little gnome. I do not care for other women. He will be mine." The calm assurance in her words made it seem like it was already concluded, the intervening time just a formality. Her eyes were half-lidded as she turned back around in her chair, her tail swishing languidly behind her. Marty looked at me like he was seeking support, and I shrugged at him. "Well, I won't get in her way. I wish her and Shino a long and happy marriage." Several of the nearby people chuckled softly at my comment. A dwarf that I hadn't noticed when we walked in smacked his arm on his recliner. "That is one thing about being famous no one ever tells you. All of the adoration and well wishes from the fans is appreciated, but there is always a bit of the crazy that grips some of them. It shows itself in time to knock you right in the pecker when you aren't expecting it. Then it leaves you standing there holding your jewels, wondering what in all the dungeons just happened to the world." Marty met my eyes with a slight grin. "Do you ever get the feeling that sometimes we just might be the sanest people in the room?" Laughing. "I'm not sure that has ever happened before." The room quickly quieted down when two men walked through the doors to stand facing the crowd. Both were wearing black tailored suits, jackets unbuttoned and hanging open. After he was assured that he had everyone's attention, the taller of the two announced to the onlookers, "We will begin the trials shortly, but I have a couple of announcements to get through." The nervousness that I had thought was mostly under control redoubled its efforts. Although it tried, the blood that began pounding in my ears wasn't loud enough to drown out his next words. "First things first. You all may have heard the rumor that if you fail the trials, you die." He paused as he scanned the faces looking at him attentively. "I want to confirm to you right now that what you have heard is 100% true. You will die if you fail the trials." The entire room was so unnaturally still at this pronouncement. My ears started ringing slightly in the silence. He continued after letting that sink in. Anyone that is not okay with that risk, anyone who is not okay with that risk needs to step forward now. You will be taken to another room where a magical seal will be placed on you. It will bind your ability to talk about anything you have seen, heard, or done while in the compound today. All you will be able to tell anyone is that you didn't take the trials. Then you will be allowed to leave and return to your civilian life. Both men in the suits stood waiting at the front of the room for any takers. Eventually, a tall, lean man stood from a recliner in the back of the room and slowly made his way forward. From his build, I thought he might have some elvish blood in him. When he reached the two men in the front of the room, the second man, who hadn't been addressing the room, waved for him to stand next to him. This opened the floodgates, and more people quickly stood up and joined the first. The first man addressed the people still seated. Any last takers? Once that door shuts, there is no turning back. At his words, a couple more got up and hurriedly exited the room. When the door shut behind the group of people who left with the second man, I looked around the room and estimated that only about a dozen people remained in their seats. The first man continued. All right. Now that we have gotten that bit out of the way, he held his arms out to the people that stayed. Welcome to the Conry Trials. My name is Eli, and I will be your guide. He introduced himself with a nod to the onlookers. I know you all probably have a lot of questions, but this isn't a meet and greet. If you pass the trials, then we can talk. Right now, just listen to what I have to tell you. Do you all remember the magical circuits that were placed inside of you when you crossed through the gate? He paused as realization crossed all of our faces. Those circuits are controlled by Akashi himself. The trials will be conducted internally and are between you and him. No one else will ever see them, nor can anyone intervene. Akashi will either make you a Conry, or you will die permanently. Got it? Various people nodded slowly at his words. All right then. Shino, it's your show. He waved his hand at the wall in the back of the room. We all turned to stare at the place that he waved and then looked back and forth between the empty wall and the man in the suit as he stood with his arms crossed behind his back, completely at ease. Confused at what Eli was talking about, a girl with a mop of red curls that hung past her shoulders near to the area he indicated raised her hand and called to him. Sir? No one is back here but me. Eli looked at her with a pitying smile. I hope to see you on the other side. He looked back at her and saw that her head was rolled to the side. I thought she might have been sleeping until I saw the small red gash that was opened in the side of her neck. A small stream of blood was running down and mixing with the green of her blouse. I jumped to my feet in shock and yelled, She's dead! And there, we're going to end. What a cliffhanger.
There we go. Holy shit.
Hello!
Okay, so pretty intense.
She's dead.
Pretty intense little peek into that book.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It sounded well written. It sounded compelling and well written.
So. I want to read more. I want to know what happens.
So I left a link to the Amazon page for this book. It is in the chat. I don't know if it's in the description of the YouTube video, but it will be by the time if you're watching this as a replay, it'll be there probably. But yeah, so they already have an audiobook for it. Kaden Reed is the author. Akashi's Will, the Harbinger Chronicles, book 1. The audiobook is narrated by a CJ McAllister.
I don't know. I'm interested.
Okay.
I'll give it a listen.
Haven't heard this narrator before. You guys tell us what you think of him. And yeah, there it is. So you guys go pick it up if you're interested.
We'll get it.
Gary, very good read. Dude, your cold reads are fucking on point, man.
I mean, I think you mentioned it a while back, like similar to yourself, that like it got to the point where you just had to, like, you had to be able to cold read because sometimes there's no time for prep.
Yeah. Yep.
And I hope I do an okay job. That's always the goal. Do a good job. Hopefully.
You were doing awesome on that one. It's just like hardly any inflection mistakes in any of it. Just it's fucking great. You know,
Helps when
one
it's well written. When it's well
yeah,
written, it almost narrates itself. Like
right. That's
all the
that's
cues are there.
that's the truth. And you know, one thing that I've always thought, um, coming up as an audiobook narrator, starting in, other random voiceover stuff before doing narration, is that other voice actors really have it easy, right? They
It's
don't
hard. Fucking long, hard work.
long, hard work. And whereas most uh most voice actors, when they find that out about narrating books, right, they start trying. They're like,
Hmm.
"Holy fuck," they give up, and they're like, "This is too much work. I don't wanna deal with this for the amount of pay that I get," right?
It's
And
it's true.
and then they don't get to sharpen their chops like we do.
It's
That's the
yeah, I mean,
thing.
it's not for everyone. It really isn't. I suppose it worked out for us. It suits our temperament, suits our skill set, something we like to keep doing. And you get
Yeah.
to play all the characters. It's like
Right.
you get to play everyone. Like there's some stuff, there's degrees of castability. Like on camera, well, only a certain amount of people can fill this role. On stage, maybe certain people can fill this role that couldn't do it on camera. In audio,
Yeah.
can you sound like that person? Then you are that person.
Yep, and that's the beauty of it. And when you're in audiobooks and you're forced to be the casting director of the story that you're reading, then you gotta, you're casting yourself every time.
Yeah.
So you gotta be up for the job every time. And so we have to, like, at least that's how I got better, is I was like, "No
Oh
excuses,
yeah, same.
motherfucker. You do this right."
It's
And,
the most fun part.
it really is. It really is, especially when there's a stretch, especially it's like, How do I do that?" And then you figure it
Yeah.
out. But, we get so much practice. And it's all
Um,
go, 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 on a deadline. And not only that, but we have to care about how it sounds as well. Whereas, other voice actors, I think they get to rest on their laurels. They get to find out what their specialty is, and then they just go after those jobs. So I think we got a leg up. I think most narrators who've been through a real career, right? Doing, more than 100 audiobooks or something at some point. Uh, I think once you go through that many audiobooks, you're gonna be much easier to direct. It's gonna be much
oh
easier for
yeah.
you to pick up anything, any random thing, than any other voice actor who's doing anything else. I mean, except maybe animation. Animation and video games people, there's, like, absolute pros in that industry where it's even
Oh
more
yeah,
important
definitely.
to be flexible and stuff, and to have a lot of range, and to be able to get things quickly, because the people that are paying you by the hour, not
I just
by
think
per finished
across the
hour.
whole spectrum of voiceover, being flexible, being adaptable, that's gonna win. That's gonna win over almost talent, I would say. Like if you can be directed well to
Hmm.
achieve the result that is wanted by whoever's the director, even if it's you'll do all right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what's next? Alpha physics.
You're
Let's.
reading, boy.
I'm reading this time, y'all. Okay, so I just realized this is the one where the main character is Australian. And I'm
Do
pretty
it.
good at this. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at this.
Guy
But I did take
Jeffo.
I did take take lessons from Amy Walker,
Amazing. She's
right?
amazing.
She's amazing, mate. Ugh. Oh, Jesus. I
You're
just
Grant.
I'm all right. I just gotta get back into it, and then
Gotta do
fuck
it.
up a little bit, and then I'll get back into the swing of it. I'll remember stuff as we go. One thing that I would like to request from authors: more Australian characters, so I get more practice. So
Or just the creative control to be like, can I make them Australian? All
yeah,
all of them?
all of them. I'm just gonna narrate Australian. I'm gonna make all the characters Australian. I'm gonna have to re-record the first 4 chapters once I've gotten into the swing of things.
Yeah.
All right. So Alpha Physics by Alex Kozlowski.
Going
All right,
on.
Adrian is the main character, 40-year-old who had his body reduced to early 20s. Technically Aussie, but that does not matter too much. He's a project manager stuck 1,000 miles from his family in a post-apocalyptic world. No cars. All right, and I'm fairly certain all other characters in the scene are so short term that they can be voiced however. Okay, well, let's do this. Oh, good. Gary's gone. Whew. Now I can talk. Mad shit. All right. With a suppressed curse, Adrian's attention focused on the noise. A young man dressed in modern clothes was running from the oven. He had an Arab's olive skin tones and facial features, but no beard. He was a fellow worker, and Adrian had dim memories of meeting him last week, but could remember nothing about him, apart from his being shy and reserved. The young man tossed a rock at a group of imps. His throw was a good one and went about 40 meters. Instantly, most of the imps nearby aggroed on him. The man ran hard for about 20 meters before veering away and throwing a stone at another group of imps. Another 40 imps were turning to follow him. Then the man blurred forward, crossing 10 meters in an instant. What the hell, Adrian thought, before realizing that the man had probably gained skills like he had gained the ambushers. What the hell, Adrian thought, before realizing that the man had probably gained skills like he had gained the ambusher's skills. Adrian focused his identification skill on the man. Level 8, Courier. Would they say courier? 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 Courier. Because, like, American would be courier. Is English courier? Courier?
We said courier.
Courier?
Courier.
Okay.
Courier.
Level 8, Courier. Like that?
I think so, yeah.
Courier? Level 8, Courier. The rest of the impression was just a feel of the relative attributes of the man in front of him. The man was faster, stronger, and quicker than Adrian, though not by a huge degree. He also had access to 3 unique skills. The first was the rush skill that he had just witnessed. The second was a dodge that would allow him to evade an attack every couple of seconds, and the last skill was to create a very brief field that would effectively block a blow, magical or physical. As he watched in amazement, the man was doing a zigzag run. Just run straight! He felt like screaming the words. The imps were not human. They guided their magic. The zigzag run would be effective against bullets or thrown objects, but against the imps it was pointless and just slowed everyone down. Just run. Adrian tried to project his thoughts, but it was useless. The man kept up his zigzagging. He threw another stone, aggroing another chunk of imps, before utilizing the rush skill once more to keep the imps in front from hemming him in. Before utilizing the rush skill once more to keep the imps in front from hemming him in. The long throws were aggroing imps behind, beside, and in front of the man. The man escaped the gathering imps. Maybe the mad rush would be successful. For the life of him, Adrian could not work out what the man was trying to do. A big train of imps followed the man. Luckily for him, imps were slow, so if he stopped zigzagging, he would escape. Over 70 imps were following the man, so Adrian kept his ambusher fade in place. There was nothing he could do against that many imps apart from run. The man used his rush ability again. This time, magic focus caught the action. The rush ability was unique in his experiences. The imp's powers were completely different, and even the ambusher had observed nothing like this. The power started early in the man's muscles. Every single muscle in the man vibrated with extra internal energy. The muscles were jumping with the energy. Then, altogether, they moved faster and sped the man forward. The ability was based on his internal strength and agility, as opposed to any mana expenditure. As the magic worked, the courier's mana levels As the magic worked, the courier's mana levels held dead steady. Here was sudden movement back at the oven, and a crowd of about 15 men and a couple of women emerged. Adrian finally understood what the crazy man was doing. He was drawing the imps away to allow the rest of his co-workers to escape. Adrian felt humbled by the man's courage and reassessed to see if he could help. The train of imps was catching up to the man, and there were so many of them. If Adrian got near them, they would just blast him to bits. At the oven, Graham, the site supervisor, was leading and directing the group. He was talking quickly with firm commands. The old man looked bigger and stronger than he had previously. But when Adrian tried his identification, it failed as the target was too far away. Quickly, Graham's men ran out of the oven through the area the courier had cleared. The entire group clutched improvised weapons. For most, it was a tool like a large metal wrench, but some had resorted to broomsticks. A couple just clutched rocks. They were clearly expecting to fight their way out. Adrian would have loved to join them, but he knew at a glance they were too far away for him to navigate through the imps. It was a moot point anyway. The courier, with the crowd of imps following him, had curved around and was now between Adrian and Graham. The courier's battle had descended to a struggle for every breath. He was using all three abilities, one after another. Magic focus highlighted the strain the effort was inflicting. The internal vibrations were becoming erratic. Worse for the man, he kept throwing rocks. More and more imps were aggroing on him. The vibrating energy was responding slower. When the man rushed forward, he only covered 7 or 8 meters as opposed to the previous 10. The man threw another rock, this time aiming for a group in front of him. The rock traveled over 30 meters and aggroed all the imps he was heading towards. They started hopping towards him. He saw 2 of the closer imps launch fireballs at him, so he activated dodge. The 2 fireballs flashed through the space the courier had been standing in. What I just did was I was like, oops, I messed up. I'm going to reset my playhead and retake it. I reached over to do that just now. Let's see. He lowered his head and charged along the previous route. As Adrian watched, he prayed to a god that he had never believed in. Oh, okay. Australian. Please make it. There we go. Adrian was a helpless spectator to the events unfolding. Like a ghoul, magic focus was actively extracting everything possible from the encounter. The familiar muscle vibration of the rush kicked in. Nope. The familiar muscle vibration of the rush kicked in. Multiple imps were preparing attacks. The muscles vibrated, but there was not enough left in the tank. The skill failed. Time had been dragging and seemed to speed up to normal. Air caught in Adrian's throat. The brave man stumbled slightly, almost falling to his knees. He caught himself and kept going. But a thread of dark energy reached between the man's knees and a nearby imp. The missile spun through the air, and time slowed. The dark missile was slow, but the courier had nothing left to stop it. I keep wanting to say courier with a British accent, because I was worried about it earlier. Jeez, what is wrong with my narration today?
You got this, Jeff.
I got it, guys. Something. Please help him. Another step forward. The tendril of energy stretched without breaking. The missile adjusted to follow. It had already left the imp's claws. Another step. Once more, the tendril stretched, following the running man. It hit just below the knee. Vitality drained from the leg, and the courier stumbled. He fell hard. The third skill, which used magic, activated, and a shield snapped into place over him. The man was trying to pull himself to his feet. Only one leg worked, and his efforts were futile. Another dark bolt hit and sizzled into nothing against the shield. The shield fell away in a scattering of energy. 3 fireballs and 1 ice bolt rushed through the space, smashing into the man. 2 firebolts in the head, 1 ice bolt in the shoulder, and the last firebolt into the already dead leg. The courier died instantly. His face charred away to leave it unrecognizable. Okay, and then we have one more page here from Chapter 8. The crowd of imps were just 30 meters away from Adrian's standing spot. Fury bubbled within him, yet ambushers' fade stopped even clenched fists from expressing the anger. Let's try that again. Fury bubbled within him, yet ambushers' fade stopped even clenched fists from expressing the anger. The anger. Revenge now. Safety be damned. There were over 80 imps in the crowd around the courier. They were going to fight each other. Another 30 to 40 were heading towards the courier. But the instant the courier died, the rage in each of the faces receded, and the imps turned around to return to where they had come from. No better, perhaps worse, than dumb, stupid insects. Just a basic set of instructions. The enormous group of 80 were a mixture of different types. They did not instantly disperse. Instead, they saw each other and exploded into a frenzy of chaotic violence. Adrian watched the fight in amazement as magic exploded everywhere in the group. They were so packed that, at one point, a chain of 4 imps in a row died simultaneously. The first one shot the imp in front, while the one behind it killed it by point-blank shooting the imp with its dark missile. The one behind that dark imp did not even attack deliberately. Instead, the fire imp died a victim of an ice bolt from behind. With nothing constraining the fireball, it shot forward the 30 centimeters and hit the dark imp in the back of the head. The 5th imp got off scot-free and had the perfect view to watch the other 4 keel over almost as one had... The 5th imp got off scot-free and had the perfect view to watch the other 4 keel over almost as one and collapse to the ground. Ice bolts flew as dark missiles launched, and fireballs splashed into unexpected backsides, killing their target and singeing the other imps around it. It was chaotic and devastating, and imps were dying everywhere. Revenge for the courier was occurring without him lifting a hand. They were destroying each other. The numbers of the gathered imp types were surprisingly balanced. Smiling a manic grimace, Adrian knew what he was going to do. Let them spend their mana and then start clawing each other, then storm in and finish them while they were weakened. Claim the day for humans. Violently avenge the brave courier's death or die trying. Safe from any imps nearby, he bent down and picked up 2 fist-sized rocks. They would be his weapons. Further away, the group that Graham was leading were escaping. Hurrying across the emptied space, they moved like skittish antelopes. A group of imps they were sneaking past randomly changed directions and looked straight at them. Fear gripped him. The three imps immediately reacted, hopping forward and summoning their magic. The humans saw and went from deer to tigers. One of them launched a rock that flew like a missile and slammed into one imp, killing it instantly. Other rocks went flying, but most missed. Though one clipped an imp, doing minor damage. The rock counterattack was too late, too amateur, and too inept. The 2 remaining imps launched their fireballs unimpeded. One fireball swung wide as some sort of magic shield deflected it, but the other one kept going unaltered and slammed into a man's leg. He went down screaming. Graham was suddenly next to him, swinging the man over his shoulder, and they kept running, not pausing for even a moment to finish the 2 imps which were still standing. Adrian stopped tracking the men, conscious of the coming fight. Magic focus tracked the energy levels of the imp battle royale. Over half were already dead, and the ones that survived had their mana levels plummeting to 0. The aggro range of the imps at the edge of the battle ended 10 meters away. 2 large rocks, one in each hand, ready for anything. He started sneaking forward. Like an angel of death, descending with exaggerated stealth. Surprise counted as a critical strategy. Invisible movement was effortless. They were so focused on each other, they were not looking around. Instead of the normal 20 meters of eyesight, they had barely a 5-meter range. Better still, with their squealing and magic attack, sound was a non-factor. Hell, a bull walking through a China picnic would have remained unheard. Bah. Hell, a bull walking through a China picnic would have remained unheard. More magic flashed as they kept fighting, and fresh imps died. 15 meters away, and they still had not noticed. Then, only 10 meters away, Adrian broke into a run. And that's it. That is Alex Kozlowski's Alpha Physics. So, imps. He fought a lot of imps. Did we get anything else out of that story?
That was very D&D had a very D&D vibe to it. I would also
Yeah.
like to point out, and Rich pointed this out in the private chat, when you said 1 page, right, I was like, okay, I'm going to put my green sheet on my head to look invisible. So I spent like 5 to 8 minutes with a green sheet on my head, just like half sitting there kind of going, why am I doing this? Like sitting here when this is no one's even seeing it. Anyway, sorry, I was just like that. Oh God. But yeah, that had
Okay,
such a like
These are giant pages, but these are like this is like Microsoft Word doc at like 9-point font.
yes, it's not 8.6. It had such a like he's activating magic spells, and a lot of them sound like they come from Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that
I mean,
they,
Fireball is the
yeah,
meme spell from D&D.
the meme spell.
Cast
for sure.
Fireball. I mean, why wouldn't you?
So, Mr. Alex Kozlowski, if that is your name, thank you for requesting that one. Maybe it'll get requested again, but that was our classic SBTL.
It was awesome.
Classic
Nice work.
section, yeah. And it's doing really well. So if you guys liked that, please go check out Amazon. You can find it there. Seems to be a popular book.
You go, you do now.
Right on. All right, so before we get started with Gary's games, I just have a little bit of news about Gary's games. Justin has been talking to the developers of AI Dungeon.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they, I don't know if you guys remember this. Anybody who's here, who's a regular here at Soundbooth Theater Live, but
Played it.
we've done it. We played that like 2 or 3 times. I mean, we've gone through a lot of butt plugs in that game.
We have.
So any of you who were there for those, we had a great time, and I hope you guys did too. But those guys are kind of working with us a little bit to come up with some more improv games. They even have like an improv game that they've already programmed that isn't quite done, but once it's done, they want us to test it here on Sunday.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. We can rename it to like Justin's Japes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Jeff's Hijinks.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. But what is today's Gary's game?
Today's is like, it's an improv exercise, I think. Well, honestly, it comes from an old sketch we used to do in Boy Scouts, but is a fantastic improv exercise. It's gonna be I think we call it Director. It's gonna be a real simple scene. So simple, we don't need script. If we had more people, one person would be the director, and they would direct the scene. So we'll say, I'm gonna walk into a bar. I'm gonna say hello to you, Jeff. You're gonna say hello back to me. We'll probably small talk about the weather. End scene. Then the director says, okay, great. Let's do it again. But let's do it now more. Insert emotion, insert whatever you want here. Actors take that how they will. And like, you can come up with just crazy stuff that makes no sense. But the actors have to do it.
I already feel like this is going to be one of my favorites. I love this. I love this.
We did it in Scouts. It's just like a funny sketch. So
we need 2 more people then.
Oh, are there 2 more people here that could possibly join the stream?
There might be. Maybe not. I guess not.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I thought they were going to. We were gonna draft the producers to come in here and play. Here we go.
Hey!
There's Ahmed.
Look at him, the beautiful boy.
Camera 1. Oh, what's up, guys?
Okay.
Zoom in on Jeff.
All right.
I
So
can see you. You know that, right? Oh my God.
Rich is wearing a mask right now.
What's going on, guys?
But it's all right.
I don't
Which is
have
a
a webcam,
floating
so
circle.
I apologize.
You guys get to hang out with us. You get to hang out in front of the curtains today. So thank you for volunteering. I hope you guys have fun while we're doing this. Gary,
Right.
how should we start?
Let's run through a scene. All right, of the 4 of us, me and Jeff are going to be in this scene, definitely. Would Ahmed and Rich, do you want to join the scene, or do you want to direct, and then we'll hand it off to the audience to direct? Or shall we do let's do a 3-person scene then, shall we?
Rich, you direct.
Okay, Rich is going to direct.
direct.
Sweet, okay.
Camera 1.
Okay, great.
So this is gonna be a simple scene. I'm gonna talk to Ahmed. Ahmed's gonna talk back to me. Then I'll talk. Then one of us. Hold on, because we need to. I don't want to like do the whole thing where we talk over each other.
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna walk in. We're in a bar. I know Ahmed. Ahmed has brought you, Jeff, as his friend to meet up with all three of us. I'm gonna go in and be like, "Hello." I'll say hello to Ahmed. I'll say, "How are you?" Ahmed will respond, "I'm fine." Blah blah blah. Meet my friend Jeff. Jeff, you will say something to me. I will respond, and then we'll end the scene. And we're just gonna play it straight, as if like we were, in a normal film.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
start scene. Interior bar. Ahmed, how are you? How's it going?
Oh, hey there, Gary. Oh, this is Jeff from California.
Hey, what's up, Gary?
Oh no, good to meet you, man. Just you want a drink? End scene. Okay, now, Rich. As a director, how would you like to see that scene redone? Is there an emotion you want? Is there anything you want to insert there that you want to have us try?
Not a butt plug this time.
There was no butt plug, and he's not here, so no butt plug suggestion.
No butt plugs.
That's the actual law.
Just because he used the word insert. That's all it is.
So would I suggest like do it in this style or?
Yeah, so like we would do it like you could be like basically do it more happy or do it more like John Wayne or do it more like I can't even give you good examples now, but you know what I mean? Like an overarching like do it more this one way.
Do it like you're in an old noir film.
Okay. All right, so like walk into a bar and be like, I looked over. I saw my friend Ahmed. Hey, Ahmed, how are you doing?
I looked back at Gary, and I was like, hey, is he wearing a new fedora hat? But also I was thinking, hey, my buddy Jeff just came in. Hey, this is my buddy Jeff.
We looked at Jeff.
I looked at these two bozos. Ah, this putz. I guess I ought to say something now. Hey, how's it hanging?
He was circumspect, taciturn. I didn't like him. And scene.
Right.
Okay, you guys
about-
are all like narrating your own.
Yeah.
The only like I think anything close to film noir I've seen is like what's that fucking Jessica Alba was in it, black and white, Sin City.
Sin City.
Oh,
That was the only one I've seen that I like in my head. It's like that's kind of noir, I think.
that is cartoon noir. Have you seen Miller's Crossing?
No, I know.
Do it.
Miller's Crossing, you said?
Miller's Crossing. You will love
Okay.
it. Coen Brothers.
Right, so now the director would again change up the thing. So, Rich, is there another thing you'd like to see, or do we want to change the director and have different actors?
Are we adding to the first direction?
No. These are all like one takes. The director's like, okay, we filmed that one. That's in the can. Another one now. I want to see it this way.
Gotcha.
Do it like it's Steve Irwin show. I forget what it's called.
Okay. Crocodile Hunter.
We're all Steve
Crocodile
Irwin.
Hunter.
Walk into a bar. Oh my goodness. Look at all these fabulous people here. Look at that guy over there. He's rather fat. And there's my friend Ahmed over there. Ahmed, hello.
Hey, I'm Ahmed, and I'm capturing sound for this event.
Oh, nice. I'm going to approach you very slowly, Ahmed. I'm going to approach you now to say hello, shake your hand. I'm extending my hand now to shake yours over here.
We better be quiet, because in comes a Jeff.
Goodness gracious.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Let go of me! Let go of me! Hey,
Your name's Jeff, you said?
Ahmed, come on now! Oh, would you let go, please?
You should let go of him, Ahmed. Let go.
Oh, this is such an awkward way to be holding somebody. Jesus!
It is.
That is
All
insane
right,
that you do that to your friend.
examining me or what?
What?
I was totally expecting you to drag me in by the tail.
Oh,
Is that how
Meet
we
my
got?
friends.
Is that how we
I've got my
got
friend by the tail here. It's attached to his bottom with a butt plug.
All right, we had to work that in. Okay, so we get how it works.
Yes.
Should we switch directors? Should we do a 4-person scene and then have
4-person scene?
All right, 4-person scene and the audience is the director.
Okay.
All right, so let's get out of the bar. The bar training set.
Left the bar.
We leave the bar,
cool.
And
how do you want to set up our next scene?
Okay. 3 of us are drunk, and we're walking along a river.
Okay.
We're about to go under a bridge, and there's a shady character.
All right.
Who we don't know if we want to pass by or not. All right.
So I would say then whoever the shady character is will talk after the other 3 have spoken, and the dialogue can start when they see the shady character. Do you think?
Yeah. Okay.
Or do you want to be talking
right,
shit along the way?
All right. Yeah, we'll talk shit along the way.
Cool.
We'll have. So, does anyone want to volunteer to be the shady character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ahmed,
you'll be the shady character. So we'll do it this way. Gary, you say a line. Rich, you say a line. I say a line. Then my line is recognizing the shady character.
Gotcha.
Gary, then you say something to the shady character.
Right.
The shady character responds. I respond. Shady character responds. End scene.
Okay.
All right.
I like the taste of water sometimes, but tonight I like beer.
Beer is beer.
You guys are pussies. Beer's for pussies. Always go for the whiskey, man. Whoa, stop, guys. Stop, guys.
Yeah.
Do you know that guy?
Hey, didn't we go to high school together? You there?
Nah, man. Come here.
Are you like a wizard? You gonna grant us wishes?
Yeah, man. I got NFTs, bro.
Oh no! I don't think we should touch the NFTs. I think NFTs are like, I think they're cursed, aren't they? It's like cursed things on the internet. Is that what NFT is?
Nah, man. I got NFTs, bro.
Okay. All right. Now we need the audience to be the director.
Like the NFTs are the thing that you're illicitly selling.
So we need suggestions from the audience. Somebody direct us. How are we doing this scene again?
In what style we want to see?
Style. You can tell somebody to be a certain character. You can change the subject of what the shady character is selling. You can make it to where he's not selling anything and he's got even more nefarious plans. What do you think, guys? We need you. We need you all. No one wants to say anything.
Let's think of some backups while they're thinking.
Yeah.
Everybody's driving.
Oh, wait, though.
Oh, great. Thanks a bunch. Okay, how about... All right,
I'll a text and you're expecting a text and it's from a different person and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah. Okay, how about I'll be the director.
Okay.
And
me and Rich are on a walk?
Yeah, you and Rich are on a walk.
Cool.
Everything is the same except skip me.
Cool.
Right? And you guys are still drunk, but you are leaving the last class of your clown training.
Oh God.
Okay. Walking along. Dude, I don't honestly know if I'm gonna pass my test on riding a tiny bicycle, but I'm like super pumped with the flower in the water. I'm gonna ace it, but not the tiny bicycle. How do you feel about the tiny bicycle, man?
I mean, I can get through the tiny bicycle, but I just can't get past my balloon tying practicals. You know,
balloons. Oh my God! Wait a minute. Who's it? Do you know that guy over there?
Hey guys. Hey guys. Come here. Come here.
You sound like a creepy clown, like on that movie It. I'm gonna do what you say.
Rubber chickens. Look out, rubber chickens.
It's got rubber chicken.
Shit,
Wait.
fuck, dude, for real, you got rubber chickens? He's got rubber chickens.
All colors.
How much a pop?
How much a pop, man? You heard him. How much a pop?
Just a couple clams each one.
Couple clams? Only a couple clams.
End scene. End scene. We can't have an actual drug deal happen on YouTube, guys. Come on. They have standards here.
They're surely bootleg as fuck rubber chickens if they're in every color, because rubber chickens are just yellow. Like maybe you like blue one,